Hello everybody and welcome to a brand new Elder Scrolls Online PTS video with me, Sherman. Today guys, we are taking a look at the PTS patch notes 4.3.3 for the Wrathsone or Wrathsone dungeon DLC. This is going to be on PTS as of now, and it's a small 607 megabyte update, and it has some new racial changes. And yes, I've looked at all these already. No, I'm not happy. I'm just going to be honest with you guys right out the door. So, Halls of Fabrication, the Refabricator Centurion during the Pinnacle Factotum encounter now enters into their collapse pose and stays there once defeated. So, this is a fix for Halls of Fabrication. Okay. Let's see, dungeon changes for the new Wrathstone dungeons. Not Wraith, Wrath. Gotta remember that. So, Frostvault, general changes. Reduce the damage of the Cold Snap Toothbreaker's Shield Bash and Low Slash abilities. Alright. Reduce the damage from Cold Snap's Harrier's Firepower ability. Okay. Reduce the damage from Cold Snap's Frostbiter's Uppercut ability on Veteran difficulty. So, that's a nerf. Excuse me, guys. Ice Stalker. Ice Stalker's Frenzied Pummeling Tooltip will no longer incorrectly tell you to use Break Free to remove the stun from this effect, because it doesn't work. Warlord Zogvin. Reduce the damage from the Whirlwind and Cyclone. Alright. More nerfs. Alrighty. Vault Protector. Pipettes will now be able to attack enemies after defeating the Vault Protector. The Vault Protector will now properly transition into the shield more quickly. The Vault Protector will now be immune if it is not actively engaged. And the Vault Protector's hammer ability will no longer hit targets that are out of range. Alright. Stonekeeper. Stonekeeper's Rotary Blades Gauntlet will no longer dip into the ground when cast its grind ability. Theria's now comments on less often on the Stonekeeper's shield. Combat music now continues to play during the Skeeverton portion of the encounter. So a lot of general fixes, like you can see, you know, I mean, I wouldn't say they're fixes, more of a nerf. Nerf. And yeah, definitely some nerf stuff. Yeah. It was a hard dungeon, I'm not gonna lie, but I don't know how it's gonna be now. I'm gonna have to test, but definitely toned it down some on some of that damage, it looks like. Depths of Malator, Wraithstone Bridge. You will now always be able to target the imps after they fly onto the bridge. Alright. Tharea will now always run onto the bridge after the enemies are defeated. The bridge will no longer appear after it has crumbled. Alright, Weeping Woman. Festering Tears can now be dodged. You know what, I'm not even going to read the rest of this. It sounds like a lot of this is just nerfs, to be honest. Like, let's bring it down some because these are super hard for people on normal difficulty. Let's tone them down. I mean, honestly, a lot of that's what it sounds like. Pets will no longer attack enemies after completing the Dark Orb encounter. The death recap hit for Quintus Verus Extreme Defile and Extreme Maim will no longer show if you are defeated by the Dark Orb encounter. King Neralmar's Summon Clones will now appear at the location of their spawning portal. Now always engage in their battle even when Quintus wins consecutively. Alright. So this isn't a lot of... a few nerfs. Not a lot. Symphony of Blades will now break from being stunned should all of its summon Arians be defeated. Decrease the damage of Meridian Destruction. Nerf. Okay. Toned it down. Alright, moving on. Combat and gameplay changes. So, fixed an issue where you could become stuck on a single ability bar and could not activate weapon swap until you're logged, entered a new zone, or a character died. Alright. That there's more of an issue to that than just that, guys. Fixed an issue where some pets were not inheriting their owners' conditional bonuses, such as Necropin's item set. Alright, Yo Dog, we heard you didn't like procs, so we made sure your procs can't proc more procs. The champion point passive, Resilient and Critical Leech, will now be considered proc abilities, meaning it can't proc other proc abilities such as item sets or enchants. This isn't the problem. The heal from Siphoning Strikes and its morphs will no longer be considered proc abilities, meaning it can proc other proc abilities such as item sets and enchants. So it is no longer considered proc ability, and meaning it can proc other procs and abilities. Okay, so we fixed procs here, but not here. Note, we will continue evaluating which abilities should and should not be considered procs in the future. Fixed an issue where Annulment and its morphs and Conjured Warden's morphs were you could occasionally get stuck in the casting animations. Okay. Champion point changes. The 20% will now actually work on all of the intended areas of flat stat increases, such as consumables, 5-piece bonuses, and passives. Oh, well, we'll find out. Bad idea, but we'll find out. I say bad idea because I'm leery about this, guys. I really am leery about this. After doing the math myself, this could be very bad. It can be good, but it can also be very bad. Racial changes. Updated the character screen creation screen to reflect the recent changes to racial passives in their lore text section. Yay! Excuse me, guys. What else? Hunter's Eye. Increase the duration to 6 seconds from 4 seconds. This is to make up for the buff applying immediately as you dodge roll. Okay. Not gonna say anything. Just gonna leave it as is and ignore what? Okay. Imperial Red Diamond. Rework the 5% block and bash reduction to 3% cost reduction of all abilities. All the things, it says. So this is, no matter what, everything. And any ability you use is 3% cost reduction. The heal from the rank 3 currently has no internal cooldown and will be fixed in, before the update goes live. Alright, so that's broken. I don't want to say if they nerfed or fixed this, but you're going to get 333 magicka, stamina, and health every 5 seconds, and everything is going to be 3% cost less. I'm not even going to say anything. Because, what? Why give them 333, which is resource return, every 3 seconds, which only comes out to like 100 and something every 2 seconds. But you have 3% cost reduction on everything. Now think about them playing a Templar, for example. 4% cost reduction on ultimates, which this says all things, so that means ultimates too. So they get 4% on ultimates, 3% on ultimates, and all magicka and stamina abilities. Doesn't matter, because that's what a Templar gets. That's a 7% reduction. And they get 333 plus whatever they get from their rate, the class, and back every 2 seconds. Yeah, Imperial Templars, broken. I'm sorry. That is going to make them a little OP. Khajiit, Feline Ambush. Rework the 8% spell and weapon critical strike chance to 10% critical damage and critical healing. The fears are real, guys. The fears are real. Khajiit's the most powerful stam DPS. Got a nerf and a buff. Wait. you nerf them, then you buff them. Because them in advancing Yodakai, Reliquin, like every other stamina DPS out there running, plus Veladriths, which they will do, can run dual sharpened and get as much penetration, almost, as somebody not running sharpened. We haven't even got that far yet. With the right CP allocation, they can reach that level. Now, they can run the Shadow Mundus Stone, which is going to give them a 19% in all divines critical chance, or critical damage. Not critical healing, critical damage. On a Templar, with another 10%. Have you lost your minds? Like, this is what people were complaining about last week with the Khajiit and the Shadow Mundus. And you just made it worse? I'm not even going to try and figure this out, because I'm going to test this, but just my brain right now feels like somebody turned on the overload switch and said, hey, guess what? Khajiits are going to be the new DPS for everything. Like, really, the new DPS for everything. That 10% critical damage might not amplify, you know, like ridiculous, like the 8% did. But it's critical damage and critical healing. So these guys, not only are they going to have the best damage done, but anytime they crit heal is going to be insane. Because nobody can crit heal like them. Sorry, but... What? This is just like last week. What? Are the devs even looking at what is wrong with this game? People tell them all the time, PvP, the biggest problem in PvP in both Battlegrounds and non-Battlegrounds is proc sets. Proc sets are a curse in PvP. Now, I'm not saying that proc sets are bad. I do think that some people need the extra assistance in dealing damage. But how they proc, and how sets proc, and how effective proc sets can be, even with lower proc chance, because every time that you have ticking damage, you got, and this is what is not being looked at, and I do want to get into this. Anytime you deal damage with anything, whether it be a tick, like a dot, or any damage over time, and your light attacks, so every second, on a lot of these things that you have going off, you are doing 2 to 4 attacks at one time. That 8% now becomes 4 times more powerful. So that 8% becomes like 24% chance because of the changes that they're doing. Every time they do this, like, taking away the Khajiit's crit isn't the problem. You're making a problem. Making the Red Guards have 3% cost reduction on everything? I mean, Red Guards already get 8% or 7% or whatever on all weapon abilities. I think it is. It's all and ultimates. I mean, it's just ridiculous. Bretons get 7% on Magicka abilities, not ultimates, just magic abilities. And they get 100 per recovery, and they get their other stuff. It's like, Bretons were in a good place. I'm not going to lie. They were in a really good place. Red Guards were in a really good place before they added that 15% damage reduction thing, which makes no sense. Or snare reduction, sorry, not damage reduction, snare reduction. Makes no sense. The high elf change, does and doesn't make sense. Like, after testing and playing around with it, like, I can see where it will have its uses in, like, PvE and PvP with the stamina return, but it's so ridiculous that it doesn't make sense. The Wood Elf change. Let's give them 1500 penetration on a dodge roll. Now let's adjust that time from 4 seconds to 6 seconds, so they get it for 5 technically. It still won't change anything in PvE at all. PvP is where it'll shine. So, alright, I'm used to that. My Wood Elf has been, my Wood Elves have been that way for a long time. Nord gets his resistance buff, which makes it almost impossible to play them as a Templar. By the way, if you play a Nord Templar and you run Sword and Shield, you will be over resistance cap. Just with their racial passive. And your class buff. You will go over the resistance cap. You can't even use it. Because it puts you so high on resistances. So there's no stam return, no magic return if you're playing a Templar. Tank. Nords as every other class, like Nightblade tanks, they're really powerful. They're really powerful Sork tanks. They're really powerful DK tanks and Warden tanks. Because the ones that they're most powerful on are the Sork, the Nightblade, and the Warden. Because they do get some class passives that boost resistances, but not like the Templar and DK do. The DK doesn't gain as much resistance from their buffs, or any buffs, like the Templar does. 50% more resistances. It's like... So, a lot of these racial changes definitely affects the game. Now, if you're using Sword and Board, like I said, Templar tanks on Nord are just too... They have too much resistance. And I think it puts them right at cap or right above it. I don't remember right now because it's been a couple weeks since I looked at it, but it was really high. Then on top of that, the Nord gets 1500 health or 1000 health of 1500 stamina or something like that. The Orc gets 1000 health, 2000 stamina, and 258 weapon damage. Oh, but let's boost everyone's flat passive percentages by 20%. And people are thinking, oh, well, this gets applied to the 20%. The 20% gets applied to only the flat passive. No, this is all your flat balance bonuses. So this is your enchants, your 5-piece bonuses, all the way to 2 5-piece bonus. So think about a Breton, or not a Breton, a Nord, if you will, in Plague Doctors. That's 4k health. Plus purple food, which is like 4k health. And then the 1000 health they get. Then all the enchants you might have that are health based. Then you got to think about the 2 to 3 4-piece bonus that gives you health on whatever sets you might be wearing. So you look at all this, and let's say you end up with like 32k health. Well, before, because of the Undaunted passives, the armor passive of 10% more health, and the Undaunted 6%, you would go up to like, say, 42, 43k health on a Nord before this. Now, they're going to go to like 44, 45, 46, possibly even 47k because of the extra health from those sets. And it's like, are you guys really looking at making the game like such a Candyland easy mode that you're taking away the challenge to every ounce of content, including dungeons and trials, or what? Because I really don't understand this anymore. That 20% increase on any race, Khajiit, any race now, because every race has some kind of racial flat passive to either magicka, health, or stamina, or both in some cases. All those things are being affected by that 20%. So now you're going to have greater health with any race that has health. Doesn't matter. You're just going to end up with more health. Those people that complained in the past about having issues with playing races with like 6% health, they couldn't tank or blah blah blah. Any race can tank now. Like any race will be able to tank, no problem. Just depending on what set you're using. So yeah, you look at the stuff and you think, wow, this is really good changes. But when you look at the game and you go, okay, the game's difficulty was already becoming really easy to begin with. Like, the base game stuff is a joke. Pretty much anything that's path 1 or 2 for the base game dungeons is a joke. People will say, oh, City of Ash 2 is still really hard. No, it's just really long and monotonous. It has nothing to do with difficulty. Like, that place is a cakewalk. I can solo the damn thing. What does that tell you? If a person can solo a dungeon by themselves with a tank, there is something wrong with the game. Now, you want to increase all my stats by 20% on not just my tank, but all my characters? Because you gave them flat bonuses? You took away their percentage bonuses, which was a good idea, but now you give them a flat bonus, which now is being reflected on by a 20% increase to their stats, their total pool of stats. And you wanted to make power creep not so noticeable? Okay, here's what's going to happen. New dungeon, or new DLC drops. Boom. All the dungeons are cleared within a week. Like, people will be burned out on the new dungeons. Because they're going to be so overpowered. Just because the stat increase. Like, people don't realize how powerful this will make players. Then you add in the fact that the races that gain the weapon damage or spell damage bonuses also get increased damage, because that also gets applied. Like, that 258 just doesn't get thrown on there. It gets added to it, and then percentage bonuses increase it. So you end up with a massive spell damage, a massive magicka pool on all the magicka races. Even the non-magicka races are going to get the 20%. So they've balanced everything to some degree. I won't say it's perfect. They've balanced everything. I mean, it was really balanced right before this. Like, the first week of changes was really balanced. Like, everything was really balanced. They were within a margin of each other. Now, because of these percentage bonuses, everything's going to be inflated. And Khajiit is still going to be the top DPS. Like, that's what people were complaining about. Like, you made this race to be the most effective DPS, and they don't get as many bonuses as anyone else. Now you made it even worse. I'm sorry, but it is. It's going to be a lot worse. People are going to see that and be like, oh, Khajiits are broken. No, Khajiits just got made better. They get a flat 10% critical strike damage on all damage. Doesn't matter, guys. All damage gets 10% more. If they're using Trap Beast to get minor force, Warhorn to get major force, think about that. That's a 35% increase just with that. Now let's add the Shadow Stone to it, because that's an 85% increase. They're going to have over 100% critical damage. Sorry, I'm going to test. I really am going to test all this, but right now, I can promise you, Khajiit is still going to be the top dogs for DPS. In fact, I promise, I almost guarantee you they will be the top DPS. They lost 8%. People are like, oh, well, this is going to really ruin. No, this isn't going to even phase them. this is going to make a much bigger difference. And the fact that they get 850 extra magicka, stamina, and health, that means no health enchant needed. You just used your racial passive. That's going to put you at about 14k flat before food is applied. Then when you add food on top of it, you're going to be sitting at 17k and maybe 18k. And this is using gold artam food, or gold, the citrus fillet from Clockwork City, or even using Dubious Cameron Throne, or Witchmother's Potent Brew. So you're looking at a 17k health with just those. Then you add in that 850 stamina or magicka, whichever you choose to go with, and then 10% more critical damage. If you're running Advancing Yodokai and the other stuff, or you're running the Mother's Sorrow with Sororia and Zons, or even, you know, Lumbris, that 10% critical damage applies to all things that crit. Not proc sets, all abilities that crit. Put them as a Nightblade or a Templar, they're still OP as hell. You put them as any other race, give them the Shadow Mundus, they're OP as hell. Because all you have to do is equip a sharpened weapon. And adjust your CP, and it's not that hard. Sorry, it's broken. Broken. This right here, to me, it's good. It's a good change. Don't get me wrong. But they should have taken away the 3%, the 333 health, stamina, and magicka as well. Like, that makes no sense. Let's give them cost reduction plus this return of resources. It's kind of like the Red Guard. Let's give them weapon damage, all these weapon damage reduction, and this extra stamina. Like, that makes no sense. Like, they've got the ultimate sustain. Imperials have decent sustain. If you're playing a Templar, you're going to have incredible sustain. Especially if you're in medium or light armor. Because you're going to get 7% on top of whatever you're wearing anyways. Plus, you're going to get 2k health and 2k stamina. So if you're playing a Stam DPS, that's really powerful. So, yeah, it makes you just sit here and kind of shake your head. So, let's just go on. The Apostle Jerkin no longer clips through the rear of male characters when crouching, running, or mounted. Okay. Didn't know it was a problem. Ashlander motive characters, or chapters, are now properly labeled as motive chapters rather than motive books. Cool. Hellrot Citadel, the Rampart switch and gate switch used to progress further into Hellrot Citadel can no longer be used until both Yodokai and Yoda Roke Dun have been defeated. So that's a good change. No offense. Undaunted Delves daily given by will now grant Jubilee gift boxes during the second week of the anniversary Jubilee. So that's good. Fixed an issue that could prevent the purchasing of outfit style pages from the Imparcio while using the gamepad mode. Alright. Change the achievements to zone guide and okay. Alright. Sorry, I just wanted to fix an issue where the zone guide for Grotwood directed you to the quest giver who was not required for the main story. Okay. Don't get it, but okay. Frostalt Chasm can now hold 12 quests instead of 6. I don't get it. Oh, the Chasm can hold, I don't know why it would hold quests. This is a house. Alright. Hey, look at, they finally fixed some stuff with the map, guys. Alright, so before I go into complaint mode again, I'm gonna go ahead and end the video, but I am gonna say this. I am gonna test all this But I do think this is going to be a lot of problems right here. And I think the proc idea was a bad thing. The way to fix procs is make it so sets don't proc as easily. Like, if you want to fix proc sets, make it to where they can't be procced off of freaking any damage type. Make it to where it has to be direct damage, or something like that. Or make it proc off of light or heavy attacks. And make it the percentage. This way, it's that percentage every time you use it. Instead of, oh, I can just stack a bunch of dots and it's going to proc like crazy. That would fix proc sets. But it would hurt it for PvE. It'd help in PvP, hurt for PvE. But yeah, we'll have to see. I mean, honestly, I'm looking at this, I'm leery. I'm very leery right now. And I'm very concerned. But at the same time, this did need to happen. Like, racial changes need to happen. Something need to happen to bring our power level down. You don't bring it down and then throw it right back up, because that's all they just did. They dropped it, boosted it. Oh, but we're going to make it based on sets now. Consumables and your passives. I mean, it's like... It's like the worst facepalm you could possibly do. In my opinion. I know I might be sounding like I'm complaining, but honestly, it's more of fear of the game. Like, we don't want races to stand out, but let's make it to where they do stand out again. Because of this 20%. Like, this makes no sense. And then to do all this stuff and then say, oh, well, we feel this would be best. And it's going to help the game. But we're going to make everyone really powerful. Just so everyone feels powerful. Like, in my opinion, that's a bad idea. Like, don't do that. Like, put everyone on a level playing ground. And the best way to do that would have been to remove racial passives that gave any stat increases. Like, just remove them. This way, we only are affected by sets and our champion points and our Undaunted and our, you know, gear sets type stuff. That's it. So, that made sense. But the other stuff, not so much. Unfortunately, guys, that ringing in the background does conclude this video, so I'm going to go ahead and let you guys go. But yeah, I'm just concerned. I will be testing this stuff. I'll let you guys know in a couple days what my results have been, what I've been finding, what I've been figuring out. But right now, I see a lot of big numbers. That's it. That's all I'm saying, and it's crazy. So, but I will be on PTS today, tomorrow, the rest of this week, testing all this. Like I said, I really want to get in and test this thoroughly. I want to give good feedback on this. I do. Because I do want to see it fixed. I don't want to see the races too powerful. And especially something like this. I just feel like this is going to be way too much power. But we'll see. But yeah, that's pretty much it. So, if you guys like this video, you know what's coming next. Go ahead and hit that like button. If you guys want to see more videos by me, you can subscribe. Other than that, I want to thank you all for watching. Until next time, have a wonderful day. And this guy might see you in game. Bye.